Hey you guys, welcome to Bones Collector, commercial free. That's always a good thing. Boy, there's a lot of ads on YouTube now. Oh my gosh. Every time you watch a video, there's just ads all over the place. And we're going to continue our Top 100 series on board games. I'll try to be as quick as possible and show you the components of the game, what's in the box and so forth, because I know everybody likes that. So let's get started right away. And the first game is number 50, and that is Lagrana by Andreas Odendahl and Michael Keller. And we've had it for a long time. And I do want to say that I have a few games in this next 10 that are a little bit more complex than some of the ones I've been showing. Nothing that is super difficult, but this is probably a medium to medium heavy game, Lagrana. And in it, you're simply going to be a farmer trying to build your farm up, and it's an engine building type of mechanism on your player board, and you're going to build that farm up to where you're supplying goods and building market stalls on the main board right there, and that's how you score points. One of the ways. The card mechanic in this game is the driver, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But it's a beautiful, beautiful game by Stronghold Games, and let's get in the box. Okay. This is the rule book, which is very good. The print is nice and large, and there are some rules to it. I said it's a medium to medium heavy complexity game, and so there are some rules to this game, but nothing that you wouldn't be able to figure out just by reading this rule book, and that's always nice. So that's the rule book, and then you get a glossary of the farm cards, which comes in handy. It shows you each card, gives you an explanation on how it works, so that's very handy. Okay, in the box itself, and I want to talk about the farm cards, because that is what drives this game. And this is the penultimate game for multi-use cards. And in it, you're going to have a player board. I'll grab one of those out of here that looks like this. And these cards can be played on this player board in one of four ways. And let's pull one out. And it depends on where you place this under your player board as to what happens. Now, each card you can use the right-hand side of the card, the left-hand side of the card, the top or the bottom. And that is the meat of this game, and that will be the toughest choices that you make. What am I going to do with this card? What do I want to do? Do I want to enlarge my field so that I can produce more goods? Do I want to put it on the right-hand side of the board where I can get more deliveries and add to my income every round so that I can get $2 instead of $1, because money's very tight in this game? Or do I want to put it down here on the bottom and take that special benefit that's in the text of that card? You can see how that would appear on the board. And those decisions are so hard because these special benefits that are on the bottom of the card are pretty nice. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to take that special power so that it can help me later, or do I want to do something that's going to help me right now? And it's like that in so many board games, and that makes it so difficult to make up your mind what you want to do. And boy, that's a lot of fun. And you get a lot of these cards, so that's a huge deck of cards, these farm cards that you get to play with during the game. Let's see what else we got in here. I'll put these away for right now, but I don't think I'll need to show you anything else about them other than to say that that is your first thing you do in your turn, is decide how you want to play those farm cards. You get a bag of silver coins. There's not many of them because I told you money's tight in this game and you're not going to need many. Okay, let's get the game board out. Get these player boards out. Alright. And this is the main board. And here's, you guys have heard me talk about this before, but one of the things I love about this game is the small footprint that it presents when you're playing it. Everything's right in front of you, and you can see it all very well. I love this small board. Man, there's nothing to it, but there's a lot going on, and you can see the numbers on these hexes. You get points for where you place your market stalls, and you get points at the end of the round when you do it too. So you have to pay attention and make sure that you're filling wheelbarrows and putting your markets up here. And then you have craft houses where you can transport goods, and then you have roof tiles that'll go right here. And the roof tiles is what we use for round counters. And then over here is the action selection mechanism, and it's done with dice. You roll the dice and you put the dice according to their values in this column of action selection mechanisms, and then you take turns drafting them until there is only one left. Then both players take that last action. So that's pretty cool. And that's how the main board works. And on your player board, I told you about the cards. And when you play these cards, the top one I didn't mention is the wheelbarrow. When you place it up here like this, in the top of your player board, that's the wheelbarrow, and you have to fulfill that requirement in order to put one of those markets in the marketplace. These are a bag of roof markers. This is a bag of victory points, these red things. These are the craft markers that go on the main board. These are our player colors, the little markers that you're going to use. And each player is going to have 4 donkey tiles, they're called, on your board. And you have to choose one of those at the beginning of each round. And it has 2 things on it, donkeys for deliveries and hats for siestas. And I forgot to show you, on the main board is the siesta track, and that's going to determine turn order. Depends on which one you choose though. Extra markers, you get a bunch of dice, and you get a nice little player aid board that you can use. It shows you what to do during your turn. That's pretty cool. And how to score. That's always important too. And that's Lagrana. And I really, really love this game. We played it not too long ago, and it can be a little bit of a brain burner, and that's good once in a while. I don't always like that, but sometimes I do. And Lagrana is a good one. One that you think just hard enough, nothing that is going to overload you, but it's not a quick game either. So this game's probably going to take you an hour and a half to play. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I love this game. It's been around a while, but that's Lagrana, folks. You'll love it. It's in my top 100, and I'm always going to play that game. It's a really good one. All right, we're down to game number 49, and it's by the master himself, Stefan Fels, called Forum Trajanum by Stronghold Games. Yeah, this came out in 2018, and it was in my top 2 for 2018. So here's the back of the box. And yeah, that's a pretty good picture of what you're dealing with there. You have a player board, your colonia, it's called, that you're going to be building up to score points. And then you have a main board where a Forum Trajanum is being built, and the column that you're building, the wooden column. And you're placing tiles in the middle of the board to score points also. And making a selection of tiles to place in your colonia from that board too. And you have many different colored meeples, tribunes and builders and assistants and workers that you have to choose how to use during the game. That's pretty cool. All right, let's take the lid off. The rule book is very good, and I read this rule book. It does tell you exactly how to play the game. Once you read it, you'll be able to play it. These are my cheater notes, and I know some of you asked me what my cheater notes were. I don't know if you've heard me say it before, but we have a little note sheet that we type up, or my wife Lori types up, and it maybe gives us how to take a first turn, and then maybe some rule specifics that are commonly missed or commonly messed up during the game, that we commonly mess up, that we've learned that we need to write down. So that's what that sheet is, and we scan that before we play the game when we get it out and play it, and that way we don't make the same mistakes twice. So this is your colonia or your player board, and you get 4 of these. They're thick cardboard. On here you will populate this board to start the game with a bunch of tiles for every one of these squares in your player color. And during this game you will select those tiles, 2 of them every turn, and you will choose one and give one to your opponent. It's the first thing you do, and it's a hard decision, incredibly difficult right away, because you already see goals you want to accomplish, and both those tiles will help you in some way to accomplish that goal. So you have to choose which one will help me the most right now or maybe long term. So you have to think of it in that way when you're choosing which tile to keep. And then over here you can place citizens in these columns here to give you a special benefit throughout the game. Up here is you have a slide bar that goes across here, and you can move up doing different actions or functions during the game, and as that bar slides across here you score more points in that regard. And then you have icons here in the white and icons in black, and there are street cards in this game, a deck of them, and 2 of them per round will show. You just simply match the icons, and you have to choose a tile from that row and that column, and that's how you make the choice of those 2 tiles. So that's pretty cool. And then we have the main board. I'm going to show you the back of it. That's pretty sweet, isn't it? Forum Trajanum. And this is the main board. And you have some tiles that are going to go on here, some large tiles. They're mosaic boards, they're called, and they look like that. And I forget how many you select in a two-player game, but you will lay a number of these in the center of this board, and as I showed you on the back of the box, and then you can place some of those tiles that you don't use, so that you can place it on these mosaic boards in the center of this board, and depending on if you fill up some of these colored spaces, all of them, you score bonus points and get special privileges and benefits and rewards already at the age of 9. And if you put your token that you're putting on this board or your tile next to this bird, you get some points for that, so that's pretty cool. And it shows you exactly on the board what you're going to be receiving for that. The places for the tiles that go on the board here. This is where the cards go. The Trajan cards go here, and those are the round cards that you have to meet goals for. And then the street cards go here, and you simply take 2 of those, put them up here every turn, and that's the row and column that you're going to be selecting from during this game. Okay, there's blue tile. Oh, this player tiles. There's blue, yellow. Okay, so you get a bunch of different color player tiles. You get a bunch of, like I said, a bunch of meeples in this game. A whole big box of them. The tribunes are pretty nice. The tribunes you can trade in, like for if you don't have the color of worker you need, you can use a tribune, I believe, but that's very expensive because the tribunes are very, very handy. So you don't want to do that unless you really have to. And this is, I wanted to show you one of the slide bars. And that's the slide bar. That's what it looks like. It's going to go on your player board, and as you take certain actions, that's going to slide up and give you more points at the end of the round. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice mechanism. You have to do it because you can get beat pretty badly if you don't pay attention to moving that slide bar. Alright, what else we got? A deck of street cards. I'll show you some of those real quick. But again, these are the cards that are going to determine what row and column that you're going to be selecting your tiles from. And that's kind of what they look like. And they've got, you can see the icons at the bottom. And we'll put one on the screen so you can see the specific icon, what they look like. But there's black icons and white icons representing rows and columns, and that's how you make the selection of those tiles. And then these are the Trajan cards. They have goals you'll want to meet at the end of the round, and you get rewards and points and so forth for that. And that is Forum Trajanum. And you get also player aid card. It's always helpful. I love games that give you a player aid. And this one needs it because there's a lot going on again. I don't know how to explain it. It's a medium to heavy game, but after you start playing it, it just flows so smoothly that it doesn't bother you that there's a lot to think about. As a matter of fact, you start to enjoy that because, again, you'll see how every decision will affect your game. And then you have, oh yeah, I didn't show you this. You build this little wooden column, and that must be the Forum Trajanum, or this column. It's like a monument thing, and each piece has a point on top, or a point value on top, and that's how many points you get for that round for completing those Trajan cards. So that is Forum Trajanum, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this game if you play it and see what you think. But I enjoyed this game immensely. Okay, that's it for Forum Trajanum. I'm going too slow, but that game was pretty complex. Number 48 is going to be this game, Alhambra, by Dirk Henn. I'm sure, I hope all of you have played Alhambra. It's such a beautiful game. That's why it's in my top 100. I love tile laying games, first of all. It won the Spiel des Jahres in 2003, and it deserves it. And this is the back of the box. It's a tile laying game with a card play mechanism in it. The card play is currency, different currencies, world currencies. Yeah. And let's take a look in this box. And I would say this is a light game, and I love that about it. Got a nice draw bag for your tiles that you're going to draw out of. As I said, it uses a card mechanic. This is a bunch of stuff you don't use with 2 players, so we got it separated. Markers for scoring, and then each player will receive a player board that tells you how each color building scores, and also this big yellow square is where you can put tiles in reserve that you can't maybe build right away, but you want them. Or maybe you already built a tile or put it in your Alhambra, you see something else that may go better in that spot, so you can actually remove a tile from your Alhambra, put it in your reserve, put another tile into your Alhambra, and then place that one, the one that you put in reserve later. So that comes in really, really handy, and you have to be good at that to do well at this game. And then this is simply a scoreboard where I told you put your marker. Nice small scoreboard. Again, I love this small footprint game. And this is where the 4 tiles will be face up that you're going to try to buy with currency cards. So, and that's these. And you start out with, I don't know, whatever. I think when you deal each player the number of cards almost to 20, a total 20. Each one of these cards are a different color representing a different kind of currency, and they have different values on them, as you can see. Now, when you go to buy one of those tiles, if you pay exactly the amount that that tile costs, you get an extra turn. So that's very, very beneficial to do that. And then it's a tile placement Alhambra building extravaganza that you're going to be building on the table. You get points for how many buildings you have of a certain type. You get points for the longest wall that you've managed to put in your Alhambra, and various things like that. And I love this game. Again, it's a game that ticks so many boxes for so many people. Almost anybody can play it. It's not really difficult to play, not hard to play, but it's fun, and there's enough thought going into this game to make it fun and make it challenging. And man, that's all you can ask out of a really, really good board game. I didn't show you any tiles, did I? This bag is chock full of the tiles that you'll put in the Alhambra, in your Alhambra. Let's see if I can turn them right side up. Very pretty tiles. Yeah, just a fun tile laying game. So that's a whole bag of those. And then we also have, and this isn't in my top 100, but I like playing it, Alhambra the dice game. And the reason why I wanted to show you this, and there's a picture of Alhambra the dice game on the back. We have a lot of fun with this game. It's got some beautiful engraved dice, and it's a lot quicker than playing Alhambra. The dice kind of make things go faster. Of course, there's some luck, and you know, you have to have good rolls. It's kind of a Yahtzee style thing. So anyways, we got both these games. I was at a board game convention. We went to the flea market, and I've got these for $5 a piece. And I've played them and I love them. Alhambra dice and Alhambra. Again, I love this game, you guys. If you haven't played it, oh my gosh, find yourself a copy and play it. You'll love it. All right, now we're done game number 47, and this is Luxor. Yeah, Luxor by Rudiger Dorn. You've heard his name before mentioned during this top 100. Steam Time, I think, was one of them, and there's going to be another one way up the list. Oh, is there another one? Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, Luxor by Rudiger Dorn, a very reputable, wonderful board game designer. This was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres in 2018. Should have won. I think it should have beaten Azul. I like this better. This is by Queen Games, and that's the back of the box. And I want to tell you, the art in this game is wonderful, and the thing that drives this game is a card mechanic. Okay, so this is a scoring board. This is the instructions, the rules to the game. This is a light game, light to medium. So I have a bunch of the Queenies, they call them. They're expansions to the game. I got this game off Kickstarter. I'm always willing to check out a game by a guy that's been successful designing board games. First-time designers scare me, and first-time publishers scare me, but I like board games that are designed by people that I've heard of, that I'm already in love with games that they've done, and it's a lot easier and I'm more confident when I back something like that on Kickstarter. So if you ever do that on Kickstarter, make sure you kind of follow some of those simple rules. So yeah, this is the main board. And the idea of this game is you want to move your people or meeples around this track and get into the tomb first to score a sarcophagus with the most points, because the first one there gets the one with the highest points and so forth. But getting there isn't what this game is all about, because you could get there and still lose the game. You could get there first, excuse me. If you get there first, you're not always going to win the game. As you're going along, this board will be populated with tiles, these beautiful tiles that go on the board, and each tile has a simple requirement of meeples that you're going to have to satisfy in order to take that tile. And it's a set collection thing. Those beautiful tiles, you get points for how many that you've collected as you go throughout this track, so that you could end up maybe not even reaching the tomb when the game is finished. But the guy that never got there may win the game, because he played the game differently and had a strategy where he was acquiring more points by picking up these tiles and doing some of the extra things that you can do in this game to get points. So yeah, it's a kind of a race game, but kind of not. But yeah, there's some of the tiles, great big thick tiles that will populate the board, the track, and there's one that takes 3 meeples and is worth 5 points, a beautiful hand-painted vase. And there's all kinds of those like that. And this is kind of a Kickstarter thing, so I'm showing you things that may not be in like a retail edition. So because I say we have a bunch of Queenies that came with the game. They call them Queenies, but they're expansions. And these tiles are scoring tiles and bonus tiles also. Wild card treasure tiles. And there's our green and yellow group of meeples, because we use green and yellow. And let's see, the scarab tiles that you can acquire and get extra points. I think that might be one of the Queenies. Temple tiles, which are part of the game, the retail edition also. And this bag is full of scarabs also. So I don't know why we have more scarabs in there, but that's okay. Who knows? That's a Queenie thing. These are the sarcophagus and the keys. When you finally get to the tomb in the center of the board, you have to pay a key. So you have to pick up a key along the way somewhere on one of your turns in order to get to that tomb and pick up the sarcophagus with the highest point total. Queenies, Queenies. There's 2 different kinds of cards in this game, the basic cards and the horse cards. The horse cards are simply cards that have more movement than the basic cards. The basic cards are the ones you start out with in this game, and you have a kind of neat, unique mechanic for movement around this board. In your hand of cards, you'll have 5, I believe, and you have to play one of the cards from either end of your hand. And then once you've played that card, you take another card from the basic card deck and you have to stick it in the middle of your hand. You're not allowed to adjust the position of those cards in your hand. And that's what makes this game really cool. And I really, really love that about it. That's kind of a cool thing, because it's part of what you'll do in this game is plan when you're going to play those cards, because you can only play the ones on the ends of your hand, and you'll ask yourself, wait a minute, I want to get that one, I want to play the one that's next to the end, so I better play this one this time, that way I can get at that one the next time, and those types of tough decisions come into play because of that card mechanic. So that's pretty cool. And I really enjoy this game, Laura, and I've had it ever since it came out, like I say, and we love getting it out and playing it. We enjoy it immensely. By Rudiger Dorn. When I saw it played, I knew I would like it. I was hoping that it wouldn't be too light for us, and it wasn't. There's plenty going on. Like I say, we have the Queenies, the extra Queenies in the game, and we really enjoy playing. That's Luxor by Rudiger Dorn. Yeah! All right, next game. I'm going to be faster, I promise. Game number 46, Via Nebula by Martin Wallace. Yes, Martin Wallace that does Brass and London. That Martin Wallace. And this is a game that surprised me so much. When I first saw this game, I thought, is that going to be way too light? And so we brought it home and we played it. And I thought it was kind of light, but then we discovered some rules that we had missed, and that happens. And once we employed those rules, it really was a game changer for us. And this game is excellent. It's the perfect complexity for us. Plays great at 2. We always played at 2, and it's simply satisfying doing that. And what do I love about this game? Oh my gosh, there's so much. Let's take a look in the box first. There's my cheater notes. There's our scoring sheet. Rule book. The art in this game is so cool. I don't know, it takes place in a fantasy world, which is, kind of freaked me out from Martin Wallace, because it was rare for him to do that kind of thing. The rule book is very good, explains everything about the game. Big print. In the back here we got what? Card power, so it tells you what each one of the contract cards will do. So, in this game you'll have a player board that comes in very handy. Tells you exactly what you can do on your turn. And you have stacks of tiles that are going to go on top. Once you empty those stacks, you get the point total on there. Has a place for your buildings, your construction tiles, your little meeples that you're going to place on the board to populate resources. And then a little space where you have to put resources you don't use, and you have to get rid of those by the end of the game or it's minus points. So, And this is the beautiful board, and it's two-sided. So you got that side, you got this side. One side is supposedly harder than the other, and it has more spaces where you can't place tiles. Yeah, so anyways, that's what the board looks like. And then this is the insert, and this is one of the things I love about this game. It has a place for everything in this box. The different color buildings, not only the different colors, which is cool, but they're different shapes. So a colorblind person could play this game very easily. These are your meeples. Gosh darn, craftsmen. I think they're craftsmen. These craftsmen are that are going to be going on the board to lift some of these tiles wherever they land on one of these tiles. You populate the board with those resources. And then these are the route building tiles that you'll be placing on the board. And you have a deck of contract cards. You complete contracts to get points, and then you have personal contract cards, because at the beginning of each game each player will get 2 of those, so you have those to work on also. And then here where the resources are, the wheat, this is pig, stone, wood, and bricks, and the shape of that item is where that goes in the box. That's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome. And you can see everything it goes has a place in here. Your construction tiles, everything that you need in this game. And I really appreciate that. And this game is just an anomaly. The first time I played it, I thought it was just not going to be for us. And then before we could sell it, I said, let's play via Nebula again. So we played it again, and I said, you know, I like that. I like that game. And so I said, don't sell it. So we kept it, and then we played it again, and I told Lori, I love this game. So I went from like selling it to loving it, and it's in my top 100. I love it. I love it every time we play it. It's an excellent game by Martin Wallace. It's the best game he's ever done as far as I'm concerned. I like it better than Brass. I like it better than London, and via Nebula hits us right where we like to play. I love that game. All right, number 45 is a game by Lucas Hedgren, and it's called Subdivision by Bezier Games. If you've watched my top 10 tile laying games, this is in that one if you want a lengthier description about what's going on. But on the back of the box you can see exactly what's going on. Similar to Suburbia. The tiles even look similar to Suburbia. And I really like this game better than Suburbia. For those of you out there, Suburbia is a wonderful game. This one gets just a nod for Lori and I because we love the fact that you're placing these tiles on a board, because the board is the restriction. You have to be able to reach every one of these tiles by road, and that's hard to do, hard to manage when you're trying to lay those tiles down next to certain other tiles in a certain fashion to get certain points. So there's a lot of thought that goes into that. And there's a die in this, and you roll that die, and whatever color comes up on that die when you roll it, that's where you have to place your tile. You have to. You don't have any choice unless you pay to move it. Well, money is so tight in this game, you don't want to do it, but once in a while you'll have to. But when you roll that die, you have to place that tile on the color that it says, and that is the challenge in this game, folks. Okay, we'll show you what's in the box. Cheater notes, rule book, and you love when you open up a board game that makes you think really hard, but the rule book is 4 pages. Yeah. On the back it has the explanation of all the tiles. Don't use with 2. And these are different tiles, different hex tiles that you are going to draft and put on the board. A bag of money, sidewalks, and this is the die I told you about. It has different shapes, and each shape is a different color. But when you roll that, that's where you have to place your tile. I'm going to show you real quick, and I'll put this thing away. There's our score sheet. And you have 4 of these in here, and they're double-sided, okay? And when you roll this die, you can see all those icons are represented on this die, and you have to place your tile on that spot. If it's brown, you can see you have to place it on a brown. If you roll a blue, you can place it on any of these blue spots. Well, as you're putting those tiles down, that makes that decision very hard because it changes the game. It changes where you want to put this stuff. And again, you have to be able to access the road that you see running down the center of that board. So, oh my gosh, the decisions in this game are so difficult and so much fun that you'll just, you'll say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, because it's so delicious to make those tough decisions in a game like this. But Subdivision will always have a place in our library, and it always, for me, just edges out Suburbia because of this restrictive nature of the board and that die. And I bought this game for 15 bucks at a game convention. I gotta tell you, and I love it. Subdivision. Okay, game number 44. Woohoo! Tapestry, a civilization game by Jamie Stegmaier. Yeah, Jamie Stegmaier, and I have several of his games. We have Viticulture, which I love, and we have, well, it's not by Jamie Stegmaier, it's by Stonemaier Games, Wingspan. So we have those 3 games from Stonemaier Games. Yeah, we have My Little Scythe too. I'm sorry. Yeah, we do have My Little Scythe. And I used to own Scythe, but that's gone. But yeah, Tapestry is a civilization building game from 1 to 5 players, 90 to 120 minutes, ages 12 and up. This is the back of the box. Oh my gosh, it's kind of heavy, so you have to kind of bear with me a little bit. There's a lot in this box. I'm going to show you what's in the box. So, we've gotten some sheets to help us with the game, some changes they made. This is a sheet from Stonemaier Games about the civilization adjustments of the civilization cards. Some of them might have been a little bit too beneficial compared to others. Symbology guide. My cheater notes. This is a reference guide that comes in handy for the tech cards that you get, and then actions that you take on the board. Rule book, and check this out. Let's see, count the front page. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's pretty awesome. My hat's off to Jamie Stegmaier, because this game is pretty deep, and the rule book would not make you think that. It's very small. And when you go to play this game, you can't believe it, that it only has a 4-page rule book. But it's a very complex game. There's a lot going on. There's a lot in this box. You have all these little buildings that are going to go on your player board that I'll show you, that you're going to build on your city. Beside your player board, you'll have a city card, and you're going to be taking buildings off your player board and putting them on here. You can't put them where the red dots are, and the more spaces you cover up, you get benefits for doing that. You also will start out with a civilization card, and you get a bunch of these, 16 I do believe. Civilization cards gives you a place to start for your civilization. They're all different. I went through and read them, and they're pretty amazing. Pretty cool stuff. All of them are different and a lot of fun to manipulate and to use during the game. So those are your civilization cards that you start out with. Again, this box is packed full of goodness, gamey goodness, we like to call it. And this is this is your player board. And on your player board, you will be putting down Tapestry cards here, and you have these. Almost all of these squares on these rows will be filled with buildings that I told you're going to take off, and putting them on your capital city card. And as you do that, you can see you reveal different benefits that you're going to get and score during your income phase. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I really like the player boards. And oh, this is just a board where you're going to put your building minis to keep them. And then the board itself. Is 2-sided. So this side is for 2 to 3 players, this side is for 4 and 5 players. But yeah, this board is simply made up of 4 different tech tracks, or civilization tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will start out with markers here and move them up the tech tracks and get the benefits as you go. You're going to be conquering areas out here, so there's an area control thing going on here in the center of the board that you score points for, and that's how this game is played. Very easy to understand, but the decisions are pretty tough. Laura and I played it the other day, and I was surprised it took us a full 2 hours, and that is... wow. I mean, when we looked at each other, I was like, that took us 2 hours. But it's very fun, and it doesn't bother you that it took 2 hours. Okay, then you have an insert that has all your buildings and tiles that you're going to be building in the center of the board, all the minis that come with it, beautiful minis, sculpted minis that will be going on your capital city board too, because once you move far enough up tech track, you're going to get these special buildings. And first one to cross the line where this building is, you get that building, you're going to put it, and they're larger, so they cover up more spaces on here, and that's the goal, is to cover up as many spaces on your capital city board as you can, and that's what it looks like. So yeah, that's Tapestry. I love this game. We played it, again, like I said, the other day. We really, really enjoyed it. I couldn't believe how long it took us, but I'm a pretty slow player sometimes when games get complex, and I probably think too much, but I always want to try to do the best move, and I try to analyze it maybe sometimes too much, and get a little analysis paralysis going on. But man, I'm telling you, this is a wonderful game. We enjoy the heck out of it. We played it at a convention and decided we liked it, but kind of held off just because we didn't have $100. So we waited and picked it up for half that, and we enjoy it immensely. That's Tapestry. And one thing I will say about Stonemaier Games, all their games are readily available. So that's Tapestry. Yay! Now I'm down to game number 43 by Matthias Kramer called Glenmoore. And it's kind of the opposite in terms of physical size as Tapestry. This is a tiny box. And this game is out of print, this particular version, and you can only get now Glenmoore Chronicles. The game Glenmoore Chronicles is probably 6-7 times bigger than this box. It's huge, and the game is probably wonderful. I don't know if they made any rules changes or anything. I'm sure they did some changes to the game, but we found this at, again, a games convention. Lori found it for 20 bucks, and she says, "Hey, they got this game for 20 bucks. You want to get it?" I said, "Are you kidding? Get it." And there it is. You're in Scotland, laying down tiles and building your village in Scotland or whatever. And this game, if you remember when I talked about Matthias Kramer's Kraftwagen V6 game, remember I showed you that in one of the prior videos? It uses, this was first, and it uses that turn mechanism. And let's take a look in the box. Rio Grande Games, I didn't mention the publisher. There's the rule book. Yeah, there's the rule book. The print is very small in this rule book. I wish it could have been the size of the box. I guess if they had made the size of the box, they could have made the print bigger. I don't know, the older I get, the less I like tiny print rule books, and I have some that are absurdly small, and you'll hear me harp about that because that's what old people do, they complain. So here we go. This is the market board where you can buy and sell goods. You also have the tiles that you're going to choose from on this board. And then, as in Kraftwagen, the person in the back, it's his turn. Doesn't matter if you chose a tile that's 3 places up. If you chose a tile that's right here, the next player gets to take all those tiles if they want until they get to you, because they're in the back. They're continually in the back. So if you see a tile that you really, really want, and you're going to skip a couple of tiles, you have to think to yourself, do I want to give my opponent the opportunity to buy all those tiles that I'm skipping? And that's what you're doing. And there's also a dummy player die in this turn mechanism also that you roll and he moves. And I'm telling you what, that is maddening. That dice has taken the tile I've wanted so many times. I just want to take it and throw it. But I mean, it's incredibly amazing, because you have to think about that dice. Is that dummy dice going to take a tile that I want? Should I skip those tiles in case that dummy die takes that tile? I've been burned so many times by that silly thing. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty cool. This is a board that gives you a rule summary and tells you about the tiles. It has an insert for everything in it. Victory point tokens, the cubes that represent all the resources, and I mean, everybody has an opinion about that. The brown cubes are cattle and so forth. So you could have little cows or whatever. I don't mind the cubes. I have a great imagination. I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I don't need really someone to tell me what a cow looks like. I already know. So this is whiskey barrels. So you get a bag of meeples, and the black ones are clansmen with a C. Okay, and once they move off the board, they become chieftains, and they score like that at the end of the game. So it's important to understand how those work, because when you're placing your tiles, they determine where you can place other tiles. And then you get a bunch of different tiles that do different things when you're building your village, and you activate them when you place one adjacent to it and so forth. And what's this? You get a bag of coins. You have some tiles that will be in the game. Some bigger tiles that you're going to acquire when you or select that tile off the action board. Once you select that, you get the corresponding castle or whatever, and it gives you a super benefit that's very, very nice. So those are real important. But yeah, oh man, this game, I tell you what, it is for a small, tiny box like this. This game is so thought-provoking and wonderful. And it's a beautiful game by Matthias Kramer, who also did Lancaster, which is an amazing game, Kraftwagen, and Rococo. We have a copy of the Rococo Deluxe coming in the mail soon, I hope. I mean, I can't wait. But yeah, Glenmoore, it's one of my favorite tile laying games. It was in my top 10 tile laying games, and I'm in love with it every time I play it. It's amazing, and look at that, tiny box. I love that. Glenmoore by Matthias Kramer. Yay! All right, we're moving on to number 42. Another Stefan Feld game by Queen Games called Amerigo. Amerigo, you know, this is a big box, and I'll show you why it's such a big box. And I don't like game boxes that are this large, but I'm willing to make this exception because this game is incredible. Okay, so I got my teeter notes, I got my rule book. Look how large the print is, so you know I'm in love with that. Even use the back of the rule book to give you some hints. And then in this game, and he's used this in other games too, in this game the board is going to be made up of puzzle pieces, and then you have larger island tiles that'll go in the center of those, and you have a boat you're going to move around from island to island and build on those islands. And then the thing of this game is this cube tower. I have to pay this like that. Okay. Yeah. Alright, there you go. That's what's in this game that makes it so amazing, is this cube tower, and that's the action selection driver in this game. You have different color cubes you're going to drop down in here, and it has little hiding places in there where the cubes can get collected and not come out all the time. You may drop in 5 blue cubes, and out the bottom you'll get 1 blue cube, 2 blacks, and 3 reds, 2 greens, something like that. And those different colors represent different actions. You take them and put them on this board. Let's say 5 blue cubes came out, you would be able to take any of those actions at the power of 5, whichever the highest total number of one color is. But yeah, and there's different tiles that go on there, and a set collection thing going on with some of the tiles, and then you also have to fight off the pirates in this game. So that's pretty cool, and that's Amerigo. Let's see, there's that board, and I told you that you have big tiles that you put around those puzzle pieces, island tiles. You get a big stack of those. These are the bunch of the iron tiles that you get, and it's what they look like, and they go inside that puzzle piece frame that I showed you. You're going to move around and build on here and get benefits for doing so. And that's pretty good. I love Queen Games, by the way. They always do, you know, a very nice production with their games. Player boards that you're going to use. Landscape tiles. There's the yellow player's tiles and pieces and houses that's going to build. Blue player, so each player has certain tokens that you're going to they're going to be in your player color. So you have tiles and tokens that are going to be in your player color for this game. This is cubes and treasure chests. Treasure chests are on the islands themselves. I think it's the first person there. You get that treasure chest and you get a benefit for doing so. But yeah, these are the production tokens I told you about that you're going to collect. That creates a set collection thing. You put them on your player board. And progress tokens and commodity tokens. So yeah, you get a lot in this box, and because the cube tower is kind of large, this box ends up being kind of big. But that's okay, because the game is really, really an excellent game. And again, it's a Stefan Feld game, so what happens is you're going to try to be very, very efficient in the way you're doing things in this game to score as many points as you can, because you're moving around the ocean, going from island to island, trying to complete different things. So yeah, number 41 is Kamisado. Now Kamisado is an abstract strategy game that I haven't had for very long. I saw Luke Hector talk about this game on the Broken Meeple in his top 100 or shelf by shelf videos. I can't remember which. This game is for 2 players only. It plays in 20 minutes, and I love playing this game. It's so fast. So there's the back of the box. And what I want to show you is, you can see there's all these different color squares on the board, and on top of those pieces that you're going to be moving around. There's black and there's white, and on top of every one of those is a color also. Now the way it works is wherever your opponent moved a piece to, you have to move that color next. So if your opponent stops their piece on a blue square, you're going to have to move your blue piece on your next turn. So you're manipulating your opponent's movement by doing that. And that's the planning in this game of Kamisado. Now there's another version of this game called Kamisado Max. Just has 2 more pieces or something. So there's the board that I told you about. Again, it's filled with different color squares. And it's a 2-sided board. It has symbols on it for colorblind people. And then on this side of the board, and you have these nice chunky pieces that you're going to use and move around this board. You can move forward or diagonal. You cannot move sideways and you cannot move backwards. And again, if your opponent moves and stops on a purple square and I'm the white player, I have to move my purple piece next. That's the way it works. So you're going to end up trying to block your opponent and plan, hey, if I block that one and then I move one of my other pieces and stop on an orange, that's their orange piece. They can't move it. And if they can't move it, if they can't move that piece, you get to take another turn. So if you make it so your opponent can't move, you get an extra turn. And that extra turn may be the one that puts your piece in the last row. Because once one of the players gets their piece into these last rows, the game is over and you are victorious and have won the game. The game can play very quickly. When we first got this game, Lori beat me in 2 moves. It was hilarious. I was oblivious. But yeah, she beat me in 2 moves. We laughed like crazy and had a good time. And now I've beaten her as many times as she's beaten me. But we love this game, Kamisado. It's something that we can get out and play very quickly and have a good time doing it and think a little bit, because again, you're trying to plan on how to manipulate your opponent. And that's the secret of Kamisado. And that, folks, is the last game of this 10. I hope I did quicker this time. I love every one of you. I hope you're enjoying this series. Every one of these games is magnificent. There's some in there this time that were a little bit heavier, but they play well. Again, those games are intuitive, and once you take a few turns, you will say, oh, the light will come on. Oh, I get it. Okay, I get it. I understand what's happening. And that's what's beautiful about a well-designed board game. Thank you for viewing. Please, please make sure you hit the like thing. It has a lot to do with where my videos show up. I will keep this channel commercial free, I swear to you, as long as I can. And I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. Please be safe, and thank you for voting. See you later. Bye-bye.